For this painting, I didn't want to use any masking because I want to keep everything really soft. And then the trade-off is possibly losing a few little details, and this is, I don't know, that needs some more work. I don't know. It's just hard to get these little hairs, but it looks so much fresher if you don't use masking. It's just more challenging. You have to keep the area wet and make sure no part dries out. You can see right here where my paper kind of dried out before I was done, and it didn't get up into these little edges. So I'll just go over that again, and then I can go in after that and just kind of scrub and soften. So we'll see. This is kind of a new approach I'm taking with getting all the little flyaway furries on the edges. Usually I'll mask them out, but it just ends up looking so stiff when I do it that way. So I don't know, I'm just trying something a little bit different with this painting. But anyway, right now I'm gonna go in and just, I have my very first layer on this dog. And now I'm just gonna go in to the darkest areas. I kind of work backwards most, like how to, for beginners, whatever advice is with watercolor, you start with the lightest areas and then work to the darker. You can do that, but sometimes I think it looks good to put the darkest areas in and then you wash over that whole area with water and it kind of softens it. So really you can go either way. You can break those rules, y'all, especially when you kind of figure out your style and things like that. So I'm just going to work on this area and block it in. So this is a print of the final painting, and I had to get the painting to the people who commissioned it, so I decided to print this out so I could just give you guys some final thoughts. As you can see, this is a little bit more developed than the last clip in the video, and when I am completing a painting, it's just a really nitpicky process and very tedious. And there's not a lot to see because it's just little tiny fixes, but I thought that I would just kind of go over what I did. And what I did, as you can see, is these areas are more developed, so I darkened kind of the medium shade tones, and I'll give you a little close-up of the eyes. I developed the eyes some and did a little bit more detail, and I put the little white speck in the eye, and to do that I used this. So that worked really well for the little glint in the eye there. So I added that. See the other little glint? And this would work well, I think, for whiskers too. I didn't use, well, I did use a little bit right here. You can see the little white whiskers that I did. And I just developed the muzzle a little bit more and developed those medium to dark tones. I just kind of filled them in. I did a bunch more on this ear because it just wasn't looking right. It needed more detail in this area. So I went ahead and developed that. But pretty much everything else you guys saw in my final video. The next painting that I'm going to be videoing, in fact, I've already got a lot of video done, is this picture. And this is another commission. And I'm actually, you guys look at this, I'm doing two because you guys told me that you wanted to see a video of how I attached my subject to the background. And I had already done too much on this one to show you what I wanted to demonstrate. So you guys look, I did a second painting just for you guys. And this video that I'm going to be doing next is going to show you all about how I started the painting because someone requested that. So this is kind of a rougher painting, but it was done for the purpose of showing you guys how I started painting, how I do the first layers, how I do the masking, how I do the very first washes of color, and also how I keep parts of the animal soft to kind of meld in with the background. And those are all things that you guys have been asking me to do. So my next video is going to be all about that. So my Patreon subscribers will be able to get detailed videos of how I did each of those aspects of this next painting, and then of course for all my YouTubers I'll have a sped up version of this painting from start to finish. So be looking out for those. They should be coming out in about a week. Okay, thanks so much you guys.